Hi, welcome to Truckee Talks. I'm your host, Maya Schneider, and on this week's program we're talking about planned giving, or more specifically, the Leave a Legacy Week. With us on the first segment of the show is Lisa Dobey. Lisa Dobey is the Vice President of Sierra Planned Giving Council. Lisa, nice to have you here.
Well, thank you.
And Claus Schelling, who was a founder of the Sierra Planned Giving Council. Nice to have you here as well, Claus. Well, let me start off with the obvious question, what is planned giving?
Oh, please. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. You asked 10 people, they'll all come up with 10 different answers. My own personal answer, based on my experience in my business, is it's a way for people to take dollars that are earmarked for taxes and redirect them to the community. And there are various techniques of doing that. But in a more technical sense, I guess it's anything that's deferred as opposed to a current gift. So these are assets that can be passed by a simple will or by a life insurance beneficiary or various techniques like that.
Now, Lisa, in your other life, you are the Executive Director of the Truckee Tahoe Community Foundation. Do these two dovetail into one another? Is one related to the other, or?
Absolutely. It's sort of two different pieces. One is that the Community Foundation in general is hoping to build community philanthropy just as a whole. And one of the best techniques for people to make charitable gifts is through a planned gift at the time of their death. And that's really sort of one of the key points of planned giving is it's generally...
You don't give it away until you die.
You give it away when you're at your death.
Okay.
And it's a really good way for people to make substantial gifts to the community and benefit the community. It's also a way to avoid estate taxes and has several tax benefits as well. So it's a win-win all the way around.
So we're really talking estate planning.
Yes.
Now, do people have to be extraordinarily wealthy to be involved in planned giving?
We actually encourage everyone to, first of all, absolutely to have a will at the very minimum. And if you're going to have a will, it's very simple to also include a gift toward a charity, whatever it is that's important to you in the community, whether it's arts, whether it's animals, whether it's the community at large, just anything, the environment. People can choose that and make a gift at that point, whether they have lots of dollars or just a few dollars.
Claus, you were a founder, or maybe the founder, of the Sierra Planned Giving Council. How did you get involved, and why did you think it was important to create the Sierra Planned Giving Council?
I moved up here from the Bay Area 4 years ago, and the name of my company at the time was Community First, which kind of demonstrates to people how they can redirect assets from Washington and leave it right here in Truckee. And I guess for selfish reasons or whatever, it requires a lot of pretty capable advisors such as attorneys and accountants who understand some of these techniques. And when I came up here, there was nothing. And right at the same time, William Hewlett donated $1 million to the Community Foundation, and the timing was just absolutely perfect. So I felt that something was needed up here that would educate not only the nonprofit for the benefit of their donors and boards of directors, but also the financial advisors who influence what their clients do. And the more knowledgeable they could be, the better the whole community, and I would be able to conduct my business more effectively.
And one of the things that Claus and I were talking about earlier is that our sense is, our feeling is that many of the charitable dollars leave Truckee, they leave the community, they go off the mountain. And so part of the job of the Sierra Planned Giving Council and Leave a Legacy is to really encourage people to remember to also make a donation to things here, things locally.
And keep the money locally.
And keep the money here and support those organizations that do so much to enhance our community and our region.
So, Claus, you mentioned a number of different vocations, attorneys, or trust planning individuals. Who is the Sierra Planned Giving Council? What kind of membership do you have?
Well, basically it consists of professionals, people who advise their clients on financial and legal matters, which would be, accountants, financial planners, attorneys, stockbrokers, insurance agents, and so forth. And then on the other side, and we like to have at least 50%, if not more, of those who represent the various nonprofit agencies. And if we can again redirect funds that would have gone to Washington, why not keep them here in Truckee?
That's right. Uncle Sam doesn't need to get them if we can keep them here in the community.
Absolutely.
Well, Lisa, your experience here must point a little bit to how educated the community was or was not when you arrived. The Community Foundation is still relatively new,
Yes.
relatively young. And what are you seeing out there in the community in terms of people's knowledge or understanding of planned giving?
Well, I think you sort of see two things that are happening. One is that our community as a whole is getting more educated about charitable giving, and that's a combination of factors. It's a combination of the Community Foundation, the Sierra Planned Giving Council, and I think just nonprofits becoming better at fundraising in general. I think the other piece is the demographics of our community are changing, and we have people who are moving up here who have a tradition of giving and know how to give and have been involved with community foundations from other communities, and so those two issues are converging, and I think we're a very charitable community. I think people want to give and want to help in our community, and part of our job is just to help them do it better.
Educate them how to do it.
And how to do it effectively.
Effectively,
Better than better.
with benefits to their family as well as the community.
Absolutely.
Lisa, you're the Vice President now of Sierra Planned Giving Council. What is the mission of the Giving Council, if you will?
It's very, very simple. It's an education-based organization. Our job is really to help people in the community understand the importance of planned giving and really understand that they can make a difference through planned giving. Get a will. Get a will and leave it, make a charitable gift.
You don't tell people to get a life, you tell them to get a will. And Claus, since you've been here, have you seen a change in the sophistication of local philanthropy?
Yeah, I would say really very much so. I mean, when I came up here, there really wasn't very much, and then the Community Foundation, I think, has just made a huge impact. And also, I feel, what we're doing through the Sierra Planned Giving Council is creating a community awareness that wasn't here.
Well, we'll be running this information at the break, but it's worth noting now that you can contact the Sierra Planned Giving Council by calling Eric Moen at 587-3480. And they also have a website, which is www.sierragiving.org. So good way to get more information. What about people in the community, other professionals who may be interested in joining Sierra Planned Giving Council or learning more about it? How do they find out about that, Lisa?
Well, the easiest way, again, is to either call Eric or to check our website, which has membership and has information about our meetings. And basically, we have luncheon meetings every other week. And those meetings, every other month, not every other week, every other month. And they're educationally focused. We really try to have speakers who can talk to people about different aspects of charitable giving and planned giving. And we'd love to have more people involved on both sides, both on the professional advisor side and on the nonprofit side, because we really do believe that working together is the way that we can educate more folks in the community and get more charitable gifts in our region.
Oh, that's great to hear. Claus, any closing words for Sierra Planned Giving Council before we go to our next segment and talk about Leave a Legacy?
Well, I would say this, that I was on the initial board of the Silicon Valley Planned Giving Council, and I saw that thing grow like you wouldn't believe. And today, it's hard to get a lunch reservation, and I'm hoping that we'll see the same results here. And I think what happens is that ultimately some huge gift results because of our organization. And you never know, it might be caused by someone's death, who knows?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, out of a clear blue sky, something good will happen. And that's when these organizations really take off.
Well, I think, Lisa, you mentioned something that really touched me when you said that we have a very giving community. In fact, we do. We have a community of people that have always given very generously of their time and their energy and may not fully understand how to give philanthropically, especially through estate planning. So,
And this is the next step.
this is the next
This is
step.
the next step.
Exactly right.
A good way to leave your money here in Truckee instead of sending it off to Washington, as Claus says. Well, Lisa Dobey, Claus Schelling, thank you both for being on the show. I appreciate all the information. When we come back to Truckee Talks, we're going to be talking about Leave a Legacy Week and what that means in terms of planned giving. So we'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. We're talking about planned giving, and in this segment of the show, we're talking about Leave a Legacy Week. And here to tell us what that is and what that means is Josh Susman, the Leave a Legacy Chair. Excuse me, that was tough to get out. And Perry Norris, who is a board member with Sierra Planned Giving Council. Nice to have both of you here.
Good evening. Nice to be here.
Josh, you wear a lot of hats, but on this show, you're wearing your Leave a Legacy hat. What is Leave a Legacy?
Well, as you discussed in the first segment, the Sierra Planned Giving Council is a group that was formed in Truckee to kind of bring a awareness and an educational forum for the nonprofit and the professional community. The Leave a Legacy, which kicked off this week, is the public outreach or education arm, if you will, to the general public about the Sierra Planned Giving Council. And it's really to kind of create or raise the level of community consciousness about planned and charitable giving.
Now, Leave a Legacy Week officially is July 8th through 14th.
That is correct. This is our first annual Sierra Planned Giving Council Leave a Legacy Week. And in honor of that, last Thursday night on July 5th, the town council meeting, Mayor Don McCormick, did a proclamation on behalf of the Leave a Legacy Week, declaring that town-wide as Leave a Legacy Week. Today, may not be today, but Wednesday, July 11th, we had a kind of a keynote speaker for Leave a Legacy, a gentleman from the Silicon Valley Planned Giving Council that spoke about their project down there and how they currently have assets of over $600 million.
What's important here, Josh? You're reaching out to people, you're giving them information about planned giving. What's the key message you're trying to give to people? You or Perry can take this.
Well, I think we're not just trying to increase the public's awareness, but we're trying to increase the professionals' awareness, both on the financial planning end as well as the nonprofits. And I've spoken to many of my colleagues that work in nonprofits in the area here, and they're really unaware and a little bit blind to the benefits that planned giving can provide them. And so what we're trying to do is bring the financial community and the nonprofit executives together and increase their awareness, as well as hopefully take that then to their respective constituencies as well.
Of course, the other hat that you wear is that of Executive Director for the Truckee Donner Land Trust.
Exactly.
So again, multiple hats here on the show tonight, but that dovetails into what you're doing. You're representing the Land Trust with the Sierra Planned Giving Council, and vice versa.
Sure, and part of my organization's need the mission of my organization is to protect and save threatened lands in this area. To do so, we need to raise significant funds. And probably kind of the best tool that we have to receive large gifts is through planned giving, because they do tend to be larger than gifts people make in their lifetime, if you will.
Sure, they're still using their resources, they're still using whatever.
They've got kids to put through college and car payments and mortgage payments and that sort of thing.
The nonprofits really create or really provide a critical, important role here in the community. As Perry said, the larger gifts are generally through planning. The nonprofits locally, if they're relying on government services, there's an efficiency of scale that the nonprofits stretch every dollar they get by donations and by charitable giving much greater than what the government trickles back down, as was discussed earlier in the program, that relying on sending money to Washington and then trying to get a benefit back is not an efficient use of local dollars if we can keep the money here locally initially.
Now, Klaus Schelling, who was on the previous segment, said something off camera that I thought was interesting. He said the difference between being in the Silicon Valley Plan Giving Council, where people weren't really emotionally attached to their communities, they were there because that's where their career was, versus people who live in Truckee, Tahoe, are here because they want to be here. And so they have maybe a greater emotional attachment to their home, and therefore it may behoove them, or they may be more motivated to in fact leave a legacy, leave something behind to benefit their community. But Josh, let me ask this. The Sierra Plan Giving Council is represented by a number of nonprofit organizations. How do you avoid the perception that these nonprofits are competing for the same giving dollars instead of sharing in a larger pool?
Well, as you create the community consciousness, if you will, of the benefits of leaving your money locally, then if you could just about name any avocation, any vocation, any hobby that you want, and there's a nonprofit out there that could receive that money. And so it's kind of a feeding effect, if you will, that if your neighbor's donating, then he's going to incite or perhaps encourage your other neighbor to donate. Everybody gains in the charitable giving, if you will, community by having, whether one individual group benefits or not, the consciousness and the ability for other people to get involved just feeds off of itself.
It grows the philanthropy.
And the comment you made earlier, excuse me, Perry, is about the fact that Truckee is still a unique community, and just like the volunteerism that creates Channel 6, the volunteerism that was talked about earlier with Lisa Dobey about we are a giving community, there are people that live in the Bay Area or Silicon Valley that do have the second homes here that feel anonymous in where they live. And they have their second homes here for a reason, and so they see that their dollars may have a greater impact to our quality of life.
Sure.
And why
$1
they
million
want,
goes a lot further in Truckee than it would in Palo Alto.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we do get a lot of influence from the second owners as well.
Perry,
besides their
what about
impacts.
that?
Well, I think it's an issue of education and not so much an issue of resources. In the next 10 to 20 years, there's going to be an incredible transference of wealth from one generation to another. It is kind of educating people right now about the possibilities and how they can really take control of the money that they've spent their life earning and their possessions, and have them directed to causes that they believe in. And I don't look at it in any way, shape, or form that we're all kind of in this frenzy trying to cater to particular financial planners. It's really let the individuals, the donors, decide what their interests are, what they're passionate about, and what they're concerned about. And all of the nonprofits in this area will greatly benefit.
So you're seeing it as it raises the water level for all boats.
Absolutely, and I think the reality is for especially some of the smaller nonprofits, they are struggling on a day-to-day basis, and this does impede the very important work that they have to do in our community. And as I said, because planned giving gifts tend to be larger, they give them the financial resources and that make them sustainable.
Well, that sort of answers my next question, which is why is all of this so important to our community? But it really helps benefit many nonprofits, if you will, or at least a number of them.
Well, there's also just a tremendous history of giving in the community. If you go back historically, the Joseph family, and prior even to them, with a lot of the hospital property was donated by them. The Levon Joseph Center, the donation that Hewlett Packard made, it goes on and on and on to the level of historical giving in the community. Contemporary giving, Perry could probably speak to some of the more contemporary gifts that have benefited the community more than just economic and financial donations. I mean, through the conservation easements that have been given and other types of planning that have not only benefited individuals in their lifetime, but will benefit the community in perpetuity.
So what sort of activities are you doing during Leave a Legacy Week to perform this outreach, to start educating or to continue educating not only the public, but as Perry pointed out, the nonprofits and the various foundations in town?
Well, where the luncheons that Lisa spoke about in the first half, that we have every other month with speakers that we go back and forth between catering to the nonprofit community as well as the professional community from the educational standpoint, the Leave a Legacy is geared more towards the public outreach. This week's Sierra Sun did a very nice job in talking about the Leave a Legacy week, the proclamation by the mayor, We had the luncheon today that was kind of the keynote, I could say, like the anchor of this week's event. And this is our first annual, so we're going to hopefully grow this into a much more prominent, high-profile community event. I don't want to steal thunder and equate it to something as magnanimous as a town portrait.
That thunder is long since rolled off into the distance, Josh.
There's still lightning strikes every now and then.
That's right. Well, somebody came up with the brilliant idea of having it again. Let them do that. Let's get that information back up on the screen if we can about contacting the Sierra Plan Giving Council. Again, the contact for that is Eric Moen. Eric can be reached at local area code 530-587-3480, and you can also reach the organization by their website, www.sierragiving.org. That's www.sierragiving.org.
Yes, Eric is our current board president, and so he is the contact. And then the website will give you information about the history of the Plan Giving Council. It'll tell more about our mission and our goals and our current members and board. And we'll also have your membership applications available there as well.
Now, Josh, what would you and Perry say to the audience who may be watching saying, well, gee, this all sounds great, but you're talking about the people that are moving up here with millions of dollars and .com money still in their pockets. This can't relate to me. This doesn't have anything to do with me.
Well, I think the key here is that you don't have to be rich. Everybody can be a benefactor. Everybody can offer a bequest, either as you do donations lifetime. If you have estates, no matter how large or how small, you can always leave something for the charity of your choice. It creates a legacy, thus leave a legacy that lives way beyond your normal lifetime. You hear about community, personal foundations and individual foundations. Well, leaving gifts of land, leaving gifts of money that benefit through an advice fund, perhaps through the community foundation. Those are all things that will live on in the community long after you're gone, or I'm gone, or even your heirs are gone. And so the first myth to dispel is you don't have to be rich. If you have life insurance policies, appreciated assets, retirement plans, whatever it is, you can leave portions of those, and every bit of it helps.
Absolutely. And I think an example that I might cite is one of our members who does not have any children, is not extremely wealthy, but bought their house in this area several years ago, and we all know what has happened with property values here. And she has made a planned gift through the community foundation for that to go to nonprofits that she supports in this area. When that asset is liquidated, when it is sold, when the house is sold essentially, that will provide an enormous leg up for 3 causes that she deeply cares about and truly advance them. So you don't need to be rich, and rich is a little bit of a relative term,
right.
But I can tell you that $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 can make an enormous difference for all of the nonprofits in this area.
Absolutely. If you work with any of them, that you've seen that. One thing that's worth mentioning, and we can't go into it in too much detail, especially without Lisa Dobey here, but the Truckee Tahoe Community Foundation is really an umbrella organization, if you will, that feeds into a lot of different nonprofits in the area. So if a person wasn't sure about where to leave their giving, but they wanted to leave something that would benefit the community, that might be one arena to go to. And you don't necessarily need to direct something specifically to one nonprofit, but know that those funds would go to benefit many or several.
And a couple of things about the Community Foundation is that they do have a better or favored tax status, if you will, as an individual benefit, if that's part of your estate plan. And also, there are some local nonprofits or charities that you may not feel what happens if they're not around in 10 or 15 or 20 years. By going through the Community Foundation, which is looked at as more of a perpetual organization, through an advice fund where you can direct those types of charities that you want to benefit, you can be assured through the Community Foundation that that money would be placed in a like type of organization in the event that the organization currently may not exist 20, 30, 50 years from now.
So you have some assurances that your money is still going where you want it to go.
Control from the grave.
Too many people look for that. You wouldn't want to promise it even if it does exist. Again, if you wanted more information on planned giving, you could speak with your tax advisor, your financial planner. Certainly, information and resources through the Sierra Planned Giving Council, who is sponsoring the Leave a Legacy Week here in Truckee, and of course the Truckee Tahoe Community Foundation, all of these organizations there to help you with planned giving, a great way to really make sure that your estate is protected as much as it can be from Uncle Sam's grubby mitts and really help benefit the community.
Absolutely.
Josh Susman, Perry Norris, great to have both of you here on the show.
Thank you.
Nice to have
Thank
you
you.
here,
Great
and
to be
thank
here.
you for helping to educate our community about this.
Well, give early, give often.
Right, isn't that what
Get a
they say
life,
with the
get a
blood
will.
donors? That's right. Get a life, get a will. Thank you for joining us on Truckee Talks, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.